Good evening. Where's my co-host? I think I'm just gonna start the show. This evening we have amazing guests on our show tonight. We have a panel discussion tonight. Um, Thank you for tuning in to Dissect as usual every Saturday, 7 p.m. And I'd like to introduce our guests. But I want my co-host to come on. I'm hoping that he can join us shortly. Our guest tonight, we have Emma Moses. We have Dr. Simone Matthew, and we have Mr. Guada. Oh, there you are. Okay, I had to introduce them because I don't know what was going on. All right, novelist seems to be having some technical difficulties, and Abia Israel is joining us right now. So this evening we have a great conversation that we're going to be all talking about music and culture and how it's evolved over time. So novelists, are you there with us? He's there in
I don't know what
spirit.
happened there. Right?
All right, so he's there. He's there.
Okay, so I'm here.
All right, so I introduced the guests. Maybe you want to talk a little bit more about what the topic is and get them to introduce themselves.
All right, so okay, you already introduced the guests. So yeah, tonight we'll be talking a little bit about culture, or music, just quick discussions on current situation of our people and stuff like that. And I guess we'll start with one of the females to introduce herself. You know what? Let's start with Miss Matthews, Miss Dr. Simone Matthews. Could you introduce yourself, please, and then we'll go to Abia and work it down the way.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone, novelists and Jewel, as well as the rest of the panel and everyone who's tuned into the program. A special good evening to Mr. Gordon Henderson, who I see is on the Facebook Live. Mr. Henderson is our living legend in Kadas music, as well as, how Wadix likes to call
Yes.
him our living ancestor. So it is great to be here on the program. I am Matthew, and even before we get started, just want to say a very special happy Mother's Day. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to everyone who is a mom or who serves the role of a mom. I've accomplished so much in this lifetime, but my greatest honor is being a mom to our 12-year-old, well, almost 12-year-old daughter, Sophia. So happy Mother's Day
Mm,
to all the moms or everyone who serves the role as a mom. So I'm not going to take too much time on the introduction. I'm Simone Matthew. I'm an associate professor of psychology. I am the producer,
right.
creator, and host of two radio programs on
Hmm.
Q95 Roots Connections, as well as Untapped Potential right here on TDN Family. So I'm a part of the TDN family, very proud to be a part of the
Right.
TDN family. I'm also a social media manager, so, published author and everything else. And I just decided, well, maybe I can take on some more responsibilities because it's all about giving back, right? So
Mhm.
now I'm a social media manager helping companies, our local companies in Dominican and abroad, to kind of gain exposure on social media to be able
Right.
to benefit from that exposure. But the most important thing to me, though, is I am a Dominican and a Caribbean woman. So that is
Nice.
at the core of who I am. And I'm very
Right.
proud of my heritage as someone of African descent, someone of
Hmm.
Kalinago descent, and someone of European descent. So I'm very proud of my heritage. And, for me, it's all about how do we take that Creole culture, that bouillon of all who we are, right? All the
Right.
different tribes, races, cultures that have made us into this Creole people that we are. How do we take that? How do we preserve who we are at our core? But how do we also advance
Right.
who we are at our core, our culture? So that is really the platform that I stand on in terms of using technology to advance and to preserve our culture. So, that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we'll have a Bia who is like just got in.
Literally just got in. I just want to say shalom to everyone. I greet you in peace. I greet you in the name of the Kodesh One of Israel, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. You don't know he's our King of Kings, power above all powers. Yes, like Novelist said, I just landed back in Dominica, so I just got home for
Literally.
this event, and I'm really pleased to be here, safe and sound in such a panel of people I admire as well. So my name is Abia Yisrael. I am a singer songwriter, and I was raised in music. Most of my life has been just consumed and surrounded by the creation and the listening and enjoyment of music. So therefore, here I am walking, I guess, in purpose. And I primarily sing reggae music. I do calypso competitions as well. I also enjoy creating and singing our Kadas genre. And I'm here tonight to really just enjoy it and share with you knowledge and also hear from the others their knowledge and understanding of everything. Thanks for having me.
Nice.
Thank you.
And let's go to the man Emma next.
Yeah. I want to say greetings, man. I'm Emma Moses from the island of Dominica also. And I could say I'm a musician, you know? Yeah, I say musician because we're not limited to anything, so we sing any genre. So I just want to say thank you for having me on Dissect, and let's just have a good conversation tonight. And thank you for being here. Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
And of course, we
Welcome.
have the man Mr. Guada with us. Go ahead and do your thing, sir.
Okay. Well, you don't know, Jacques Connect, Ben's Mr. Guada, hailing from the Nature Island, Dominica. Represent for Layo Senjo, West Side. Yeah, so you don't know.
Right.
I'm an artist, entertainer, and a businessman. Yeah,
Okay.
get that right.
All right. So
Welcome.
as you can see, we chose a panel of different energies, different levels of education, just different, right? Um, so I will just go ahead because our time is limited and ask this question. And this question is to anyone who wants to take it first. What does culture mean to you? Like, what does your culture mean to you? Abia?
So you're in a classroom, but you're still kind of scanning to see if anybody will raise their hand
Right?
first.
Right.
I'm just trying to be a good girl. Yes, culture is my life, my livity, what I
Mm,
eat, my opinions, my thought process, language, spirituality, you know, agricultural practices. It's just a whole. It's the music, the lyrical content in music. It's a really whole soup of what is considered a life, a daily life in an individual, makes up quite
mhm.
a bit of their culture, that person's culture, and my culture.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So, Dr. Simon,
I would
what?
say
Okay, sorry. Go
culture,
ahead, Dima. Sorry.
yeah, I think the culture like customs, you know, arts, life, you know what I mean, language, you know what I mean, how we speak, how we talk, how we eat, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
things that have been passed down to us from the ancestors, you know, from
Mm-hmm.
generations before. And so, yeah, that's my explanation.
Yeah, and to add to what Abia and Emma just said, it's really our identity. Who do we identify ourselves based on everything they've already added to the conversation. And also, we
Right.
have to include our film because filmmaking is really starting to come on the forefront. We now have people who are in orchestra, in how do you call it, theater, producing music. People like Marie
Right.
Claire, Giro, who's doing a phenomenal
Yes,
job
yes.
in opera. So it begs the question, is culture fluid? Is culture static, what we already have and what was handed down to us? Or is culture this
Right.
fluid thing where now we can add additional aspects because of the Marie Claire Giraud that is making us so proud with her opera
Right.
accomplishments? And now we have somebody else, I forget her name now, but she's making great strides as a director in theater, right? So those are areas
Right.
of culture we may have never thought of before, but now we're introducing new aspects to our culture. So for me, culture is very fluid, it's very dynamic. It's so that is why I'm so interested in preserving what we come from, that Creole heritage that we come from, but also advancing and
Right.
growing and expanding our definition of culture.
Okay, all right then.
Then do you want to touch on that?
Mr. Guada.
Well, culture is culture, all right? Culture has been culture and will remain culture, okay? Um, Culture embodies everything that we represent and everything that we identify with. So, as a Dominican, my culture has to do with everything that have to do with my ancestors, everything that reflects our music, be it bouillon, be it cadas lipso, our ideas, as Emma was saying, our custom, our social behaviors. So
Right.
I'll give a typical example. So when any one of us leaves Dominica and we go to any other country or any other island, when we land on the plane, we meet foreigners, and foreigners automatically in their head already preempt in the mind of what your type of typical behavior would be because you are associated to Dominica. All right. So now this is what culture is. Culture is what reflects you. Is you. Culture is you. Identify. You come from Dominica. When people expect you, oh, you can speak Creole. Teach me to speak Creole. You know them kind of way there. So
Right.
I don't think I go into going a foreign and people expect me to speak like Trini because it have 1-2 Dominicans that decide they want to speak like Trini. All right. So our culture is what has
Right.
always defined us and
What
will
you are.
continue to define
Right.
us. That don't mean that there will be limitation to the evolution of our culture, but I'm saying that's to always be it part. It have to always come from the evolution have to come from the innate part of our culture. So it have to in some way Dominica have to be reflected in whatever it becomes.
Yeah, and if I might just chime in, I don't know if this is a free flowing conversation of its question and
Absolutely.
answer, but just to
No,
kind
no,
of
no,
chime
no.
in
Of
on
course.
what Mr. Guada said. He had some very good points, but it kind of like lends itself to, well, can culture be a stereotype? Because he was saying like when somebody sees him, they might be like, well, you're from Dominica. It's almost like they have an expectation of what you're gonna be, who you're gonna be as a Dominican.
Sure.
So,
Right.
so are we saying like culture? There's an
Right.
aspect of culture that comes with like some stereotypes. Because if we see a Jamaican, we might have some assumptions about who this person is. If we meet a Trinidadian, we're like, well, that person like Bacchanal because they're from Trinidad. So,
And
do
nothing wrong,
you think it
nothing
can
is
be
wrong
a
with that.
bit of a
Right.
And nothing is
stereotype?
wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. We should celebrate that. We should celebrate that.
Right.
Just saying.
Right.
No, but
Yeah,
one more thing.
but we must also preserve our individuality though, because I'm from Dominica. You shouldn't naturally assume that I like to, drop it low on some bouillon music.
No, but I know. You might not.
Oh, well,
I see what
yeah,
you're
that,
saying.
You might not want to drop it on the Booyah music, but you might want to drop it low somewhere else.
Maybe on some caras, you never know.
Is that what he's saying? So that I'm saying.
come on, one more thing I like to add is that
You get it.
one more thing I want to add is that
Yeah.
culture should be protected too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It should be
Preserved.
protected in the
Fact.
right way. You understand? So now, let's say the culture evolve into something that is not good for the future. So now everybody going to identify you from that island with that aspect of the culture only. You know, because that has become popular. You check what I'm saying? So in the same way we
But
say
do you-
culture
Yeah.
also we have to protect it in the positive.
Right.
You know, because that's the only thing that can build a nation. You know, positive.
Mhm.
Check what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so it should be protected also.
I like the explanation a lot of you guys gave. I like the explanation Dr. Simon gave about being fluid. And the reason why I say that is I grew up hearing or doing certain things that is not being done anymore. And seeing that you guys actually, I think Simone said it about things that's being added on, and things has been added on to our culture as whether it's Dominica, whether it's Trinidad, wherever you're from. So I like some of these things. So you guys are hitting some answers that I never even looked at it that way. So really and truly, what is culture? Because if I am dressed in a, I guess, let's just say black and gold, walking with a certain way, you're right. Somebody might say, "Oh, that's a Jamaican guy," right? But doesn't necessarily mean I'm a Jamaican guy just because I'm wearing black and yellow.
No,
So
that's
that
Jamaican culture.
stereotyping as well
Yeah.
is it? Yeah, but
I
doesn't
think
doesn't mean
That don't
because
mean that
I'm
don't mean
wearing
that don't mean
black
a
and
Jamaican
yellow that
guy.
I'm
That's
Jamaican.
Jamaican culture. That
right.
don't mean you're Jamaican guy. I could
Yes,
I
but
could be in Dominica and I
right.
could adopt American
So
culture.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
I
so
was
could
going
be
to
in
culture,
say that
Dominica.
too. And culture
of
has
course.
nothing to do with race either,
Exactly.
because, like you said, we can be from somewhere totally
No,
different and be raised in that culture and adopt that culture,
Exactly.
right?
that's a different thing too. That's a whole different. That's another way of
So
looking at it
so
as
No,
well.
but no,
Double,
but
what are the things you're saying that they don't do no more?
Well, for instance, I remember when like summertime, they would send us to the countryside. Where they send us to Grand Bay or even Soufriere or Cochrane, and there were certain games they would play. Like in Moonlight, they would play some hide and seek type of games. They would there was like parents would sit and tell stories. Like after a while, those things kind of just washed away. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't taught down to the next generation or even our language, right? I remember as a little kid, the funny thing about this is I learned to speak Creole in Canada, like fluently, because back home, if you said anything, you get a slap like you're not allowed to say that, right? So these are the things I think that we lost, but we also gained a lot of things. But the things that we gain as well, a lot of them are really not good for future.
Nah, you're right. You're right,
So
because a lot of culture over the world is dying, see, and new things are being
precisely.
created, but it's not what our
Hmm.
generation know as culture. So
Yeah.
the next
Right.
generation that coming gonna think that what they do now is culture, but for us is that it is deteriorating. You
Mhm.
understand? So the next 40
Exactly.
years,
Exactly.
those children gonna think that this is real culture. You understand?
Right. Yeah.
But what we
Yeah.
know, different. We know
Yeah.
that if you walk on the street and you say bad word to an adult, they could slap you. You check? And if you go home and cry
Right.
for mommy, mommy
Mm-hmm.
will slap you too. Because you have no right to disrespect an adult.
Slap you too.
See?
No, you can't
Yeah,
do that.
you can't do that. So
Right.
them kind of morals there is dead. And all that is part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying? So right now you tell a little
That
boy,
is
yo,
fact.
stop doing that. You tell your boy, hold your mother, this and that. Because everything die now.
Right.
You check what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
And to piggyback on what
So
Novelist just said, we have the influence of other cultures on our culture too. right? So we have the
Fact.
influence of maybe the US culture on our culture, and that's another reason why it's dynamic and fluid. We have the
That.
impact of maybe
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican culture. And you're correct. Sometimes the culture is going in the right direction. So we want it to evolve, but sometimes it's evolving in the wrong direction. And I think most of us would agree that we're disappointed with this whole nasty business that's going on in Dominica. And one of the guys, what's his name, was on the radio yesterday. And I think it might be difficult for us to hear, but he is correct. They create two versions of the songs, right? They create the clean version and they
Right.
create the graphic version. And it seems people always gravitate
Mm-hmm.
to the graphic versions. So where's the responsibility of
Yeah.
the adults
Right.
to ensure that the clean version is the version that our children are exposed to? So even with
Right.
culture, we have to be selective. And let me just mention, Gordon Henderson is on the live, and he says, "Do we make a distinction
Mm.
between tradition and
Between tradition
culture?"
and
Thank you,
culture.
Gordon, for the question.
There should be a distinction. I think there is a difference. There definitely is a difference because, as you said, Simone, our culture is always evolving, right? So I'm from Trinidadian culture, and from what I know, the culture has changed along the years throughout. From when I was a child to now, it's evolved and it's changed. Things, traditions that we've had, tradition has changed. I think those things that novelist was talking about when he said he used to go to the country and these games used to be played, that's tradition. I don't know if that's really
That,
culture.
yeah.
It's more of a tradition. So yeah, there's a distinction that Mr. Gordon Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely a distinction and a difference between the two. Yeah.
But I think both of them is very important and they are very similar.
And it
Yeah.
goes down to the values
I
that we
think
have
I
as
think
well. Go ahead.
that's another thing. Like for me, the way, okay, tradition to me, yes, it is two different things, but tradition is still part of who you are. It's still part of your culture. That's the way I look at it, right?
Mm,
Because okay, take for instance, like what I said about the storytellings. We have what we celebrate as Creole in Dominica, and we would tell those stories around that time, which that time is our culture time. So I feel like tradition is part of culture as well. That's just the way I look at it. So, but
Okay, let me.
talking about this nasty business and sorry, go ahead. Who was
Abia
that?
had something to add, novelist.
Yes, are y'all hearing me?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, I was saying I
Yes, go
agree
ahead.
with I agree with what you say that tradition is really a part of culture. I suppose we need to be, and Emma also mentioned that the both are very important and we have to look at them clearly and carefully because
Right.
tradition can soon become and be tricked and show itself as culture where when you really look and gather the origin of this tradition, it really was never a part of our culture. Perhaps started as something that was forced. And then I was thinking of, can culture be forced upon us? If something was forced upon us, can we just identify it eventually as culture? Or do we
Mhm.
now decide,
Right.
now that we have freedom of choice and what
Mhm.
to choose to separate ourselves from what was forced and not, can we now go back to that, to what was our culture? So I was just thinking about those things.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, um, so that was Gordon asking that question.
Yeah.
So he was
Yes.
asking what is the difference between tradition. How we what was the question he was asking?
Do we make a distinction between tradition and culture?
Culture.
Okay, so I like to explain things very simple. So let's say my my grandmother, all right. Let's say my grandmother she had believed in witchcraft. All right. Let's take that for an example.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So now when you so that is something she also taught her children, and then her children taught it to her grandchildren, and then and then it went down from generation to generation in this specific family. That is tradition.
That's a family. That's family tradition.
So that is
Yes.
a specific. So tradition have to deal with specific groupings.
Yes.
Culture is historical with a general people.
Yes.
That is the distinction between culture and tradition. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that point that you made.
Yeah, because not because my grandmother not because my grandmother teach a whole family about Obia, that means Obia is Dominican culture. That is that family tradition. My family knowing that. Miss Doctor family knowing that. Jewel family knowing that. Novi family knowing that. Abia not in that. But Ben's Mr. Guada in that.
Yeah, that's family
I don't
tradition.
make it Dominica culture.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
And it can get
Sorry,
miscued.
What would
I
you
love
what
that.
would
Yeah. Abia says she loves
go ahead,
that.
Joe?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I love that you spoke about family having a specific tradition that follows down the line. Um, I think if we fly through the Caribbean countries, we will believe or we will see that we are more alike than different. Um, I mean, the
yes.
Madras, Antigua sells Madras like nobody's business, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe there are things that are specific to our Dominican people. So now you're saying that now, which these specific things, our accent, the way we formulate certain words, the way we pronounce certain words is different from the next. Like you say, specific, so it's specific to Dominica alone. So doesn't that mean that we should believe and get an idea that there must have been an entire total culture that we all followed at some point in our lives in long before our ancestors were here? Don't you believe that there was some culture that collectively our ancestors used to one meet together at some point and practice a way of life that was practiced before we were all taken down, separated, and then eventually, though we are like more than the same, that we have still specific traditions that now separate us. So
Well,
what is
one
that?
thing,
What is that
you
culture we
know,
once had? Yeah.
one thing we can maybe see brightly that anywhere in the world you go around black people, you would see them do. They would celebrate with drums. They celebrate with
Yeah.
songs and drums everywhere you go. Okay, there was a
Yeah.
time in Africa and I see the people, the music they play is like Creole music, but the drum, same thing. And the dancing, no for real, and the dancing and the dressing is the same thing like Dominica. You see? And if you go in another country, even Jamaica, they have that same thing too. The same dressing, the same drumming, the same dancing. And you check what? That's not like a zouk. But that's not like a dance. Yeah, for real thing,
Yeah.
So everywhere you go, you see black people have that same vibes. Same vibes.
That's what you call black culture, right? Or African
Yeah.
culture.
African
It's
culture.
African culture.
Yeah, that's
Not
what I
black
mean.
That's the thing.
but African culture.
Yeah, man. That's the connection.
Yeah, and I think we want to say a special good evening to Ajmal, Skyo Beats.
Big up Ajmal. Big up Ajmal.
Yes, yeah, man.
yes,
Great
Your
one, great
Big
one.
up Ajmal.
When me cooking in the
taking the-
kitchen. Wonder what you cooking? Because the your kitchen.
taking the music and the culture to another level, right? And that just kind of reminds us of the importance of
Right.
technology and everything that we're talking about, right? And we also have to look at the threats
Mm-hmm.
to our culture, because now, I just did a program on Q95 the other day on AI and, how it will revolutionize the whole world. But one of the concerns we have to look at is now, because of artificial intelligence, folks can create music without the musicians,
Right.
without a singer, without a keyboardist,
Mhm.
without a guitar player, without the drums that Emma was just
I mean,
talking about. They can just put it in the computer and create it. So
yeah.
that becomes a threat.
Right.
to our music and our culture, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think not just that become a threat, but I think lyrics is a big threat too. You know,
Hmm.
what people sing on the music
Oh,
is a big threat.
lyrics to me has become a threat a long time.
Yeah,
I think
it's
a
a big
lot.
threat.
I think you know a lot. I think on the whole, and I got nothing against computers because without computers we would not be doing this show. But I think computers on a whole change culture. Because and I say that because let's take for instance, we'll use Gordon Henderson for example, right? Exile One. You had a
Yeah.
guitarist, you had a drummer, you had a vocalist, you had a whole band, right? Where right now, like Skyo Beats could sit in his house and produce an entire song and never have to leave his room, right? So that changes a lot too. That puts a threat on our culture. Not saying that Skyo Beats is putting a threat on our culture, but those type of things put a threat on the culture. So then you have the type of lyrics that we're getting now and the type of lyrics that is watered down that you listen to it today and tomorrow you don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think of excuse me, what do you guys think of like you guys a lot of people said booyah music was not a part of like is not part of our culture. I've heard a lot of people say that, like even though booyah music is what at least 30 years old or something like that. um I've also heard about kadas music being faded away, right? What do you guys think of what do you guys think of that when people say that booyah music? And I guess Benz, I'm directing that question directly to you. When people would say that booyah music is not part of our culture, and that kadas and zouk is more part of our culture.
Okay, that's a good question. No, but first thing I want to ask you, what are they saying? Are they saying booyah music is not our culture, or are they saying that the lyrics that is recently being um spewed in our in our booyah is not our culture? Are they talking about the
Well,
lyrics, or are
no,
they saying
well, no. Well, when you add that to it, I've heard people said, as far as the lyrics, that is not booyah. I've heard people say that, but no,
I've
I've
heard that?
actually heard people say that booyah itself is not that is not our thing. Our thing is kadas and zouk and
Okay, all right.
compa. I've
Okay,
heard
Nah,
like
you can't
people
say
as
that.
older than
okay,
us
all
have
right.
used
You
to
can't say that.
say things like
So um so I would say okay, it's like Americans saying trap. Trap is not the culture. So it's like right now, trap is the thing,
that.
novelist, right? Trap is the thing. Back in
Right.
the days, it used to be, the
Yeah.
authentic hip hop rap. Right now it's trap.
Hip.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's the same, it's like the same thing. Now, like every good thing,
Right.
again, evolution is a must. So
Of
you
course.
know it's just life. Life goes on, the world turns. You know what I mean. You had a you had an egg, you had a sperm, then the whole thing come. Then you have a child, then a child becomes a teenager, then a teenager becomes a man, a woman, and it's just the cycle of life. So
Slip of
so
life.
what I'm saying is
Right.
so when Gordon Henderson and Exile One decided to create Kadas Lipso, at that time in their life, this they were
Hmm.
experiencing certain things. They were listening to certain type of music, and all these elements was what impacted the creation of Kadas. Now I am saying now,
Right.
when from Kadas, when Ra and them come from the scene, because I sure if we speak to Ra today, and if Ra has to be honest, he will admit the influence of Kadas
Of course.
on
Into
the
Buya.
creation of bouillon. So it's all about the evolution.
Hmm.
I mean, so if you're gonna tell me Kadas is our culture and Buyo is not our culture, then there's a disconnect. It don't make no sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yalla, Mr.
Right.
Guada, yalla,
Yeah.
yalla.
Yeah.
What was there before Kadas?
In Dominica,
Yeah. No, if you say Kadas is the culture and Buyo is not, what was there before Kadas?
you mean if they say not? I'm not saying that they say.
No, not you, not you.
Oh, okay.
No, what I'm
Not
saying
gonna
is,
own that.
Yeah,
It's not me.
you know,
Why am I saying
exactly,
it?
exactly.
It's
Emma.
not me.
Yes,
what
exactly,
was there before Zouk?
exactly.
So I
Everything
see
is
a
wrong.
Kadas. Wait, I see a
Yeah.
Kadas in Buyo, you know. When WCK had Buyo, I see here Kadas and Zouk in the Buyo.
Exactly. In rap,
Buyo, yeah. So the Buyo is like, you can say a
Exactly.
extension
Exactly,
of the music before.
bro. When I listen
Check
to
what I say?
rap, when I listen to rap era of Bouillon, as a man that love Kadas music, and I research Kadas music, and I have a very close connection and relation with Gordon Henderson and his music. When I listen to rap, bro, there's an instant connection. It's an instant connection.
To what?
It's
To
just on a different, or I would say evolved beat.
I
okay.
can
So when you
speak
listen to the artist now, what connection you hearing?
In terms of the Bouillon, Emma.
Yeah, what connection you hearing to
Well,
Ram and them thing there?
What was there before?
well, then we have to specify.
Not much.
We have to specify which artists we're speaking about.
There's not much.
No, everybody.
No,
Everybody.
When I listen to let me tell you. When I listen to Signal Band, all right, with Signal Band, I could make some connection with our traditional Bouillon music in terms of WCK, right? Now,
Right.
so I'm saying it depends on who we're speaking about. Even when I listen to Triple K kind of very versatile with their thing because they cater for different crowds. I could, some of Triple K music, I could make the connection between them and CK, and I could, for Triple K was also able to create their own image and their own sound, but you can still feel the Bouillon in there. Now, I don't know if you want to ask me about the present sensation in terms of the Nasty Business. If when I listen to the Nasty Business now, what connection I'm making? Is that the question you really want to ask? No, bro.
No, I don't specify. You know, I see.
No, just because I'm saying it have different. Remember, it have different artists that bringing across different messages and different vibes in the Bouillon. I mean, it's just because the Nasty Business, the Nasty Business. Remember, bro, everything is supply and demand. All right. Right now, as a Bouillon artist, as a man, I just travel. I just see what out there. The Nasty Business happens to be have the buzz. The Nasty Business have the buzz.
Okay, yeah, what I say. Yeah, what I say.
But it's not only Nasty Business.
What I say about the protecting, you see, it comes down to the same thing, protecting. You understand? Yeah. So if I as a DJ or as a music producer and you're singing certain things, I tell my brother, you see, for the respect of Dominicans and for the respect of the future, I'm not putting that up. You understand? And all them on the radio, don't play that. You check me? Okay, listen to that there now. If I have a song I hear sometime, push your hand in your this and push it in my this and that. Yeah. You check me? So let's say that is the most popular song in the Caribbean. So people will say, that they doing in Dominica, man. You check me? Yeah. So automatically it becomes Dominica culture. You get my point?
You know, I hear in you, Emma, but so what are you?
No, my point is about the protecting. Yeah. I use that as an example.
Protecting what? Protecting what?
Protecting the own culture and the music and thinking about the next generation. Because music now there are no morals. There's no morals in music anymore. You understand?
Okay, Emma, you are reggae dancehall.
No. I'm not reggae dancehall, Benji. No, I'm not reggae dancehall. Listen to me.
You're an artist.
No. Listen to me. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I
Right.
write, and I am
Right.
a
Right.
human being. I can listen. I have children. I
Okay.
love
Yeah.
my people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love culture.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, in utter disrespect, I just talking about the
No, no, I really
preserving,
know. I never said
preservation.
disrespect. Okay.
I
So,
just talking
but
about preservation, by you. That's
okay.
what
All
I
right.
talking about.
Okay. So, Emma, hear what I say. Emma. Hear what I say.
Mm.
I'm saying music in itself is universal. Music
Mm.
in itself, and as the doctor said earlier on, she used the word fluid. Music, nothing not more fluid than music. Music, you could do so much things with music. All right. Now, what I'm saying, bro, is with the nasty business right now, we have to dissect the thing properly, because it's the only reason why we that conversation keep on coming up all the time is because the nasty business has a buzz. This is what is in demand. So that is why earlier when I said, Emma, when you talk about protecting our culture, all right, bro, I am saying we have different artists from Dominica. We have different bands from Dominica doing different type of bouyon music, um, bringing out different lyrics in bouyon music. It so happens that right now all the focus seems to be on nasty business. So when you say we have to protect our culture, and you give the example of if you were a DJ and then an artist come and make a song like push my hand in that and push my hand in that and that, you say you would automatically decide you're not gonna play that song there,
Nah,
right?
nah, nah, I don't say that. I don't say that.
So what did you say?
I say a certain song. I don't mention a particular
No,
song.
no,
I
no,
use
no,
one
no.
song as an
I mean,
example.
okay, any song. I mean, in that with that type of
All right.
lyrics.
No, I
So
know the
you
people that on the board to think I talk about that song in
okay,
particular.
okay, okay.
Okay.
No, 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 no. I'm just saying, okay, you're talking about the lyrical content. So I'm saying
Yeah.
any song with along that lyrical content, you're saying that the DJs or the radio should automatically just ban the songs, and you think that would be a way of protecting our culture? Is
Yeah,
that what you
man.
say,
And especially the future generation.
Ima? Okay.
Well,
So there's
yes,
moral. No, 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 no.
Can I say
Yeah,
something here?
Yes, it's
yeah,
okay.
before you speak up here, yeah,
yes,
what I
please,
listen
yes,
to me,
please.
Ruben, before the Queen
Mm.
talk. Listen up, yeah, what I telling you.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Music change mindset, it changed dressing, it
yeah,
changed speaking, it
yeah,
changed how you see the world. Just
yeah,
like a movie,
yeah,
right? That's why a lot
Right.
of emphasis will be put in certain music to go out there or certain movies to go out there because it changed society. You check me? It changed how people see things.
yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
So that's why I'm talking about preserving the music and the lyrics for the next generation. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me hear
I'm
what.
not trying to say, yeah, what I'm saying, I'm not trying to say everybody have to be conscious or righteous, but you have to have a balance. You check what I'm saying?
Okay, I like that. I like that word
So you're saying
balance
they should try to
because Emma, I haven't answered.
mask the music more than.
Emma, I haven't answered the
Something so.
question. Yet. I haven't answered or addressed your statement yet. I was just dissecting it. So now let me hear what Abby is saying, and then I go into address what you're saying. Yeah, from my perspective.
Good idea.
Yeah, so I'm hearing that our questions in our minds are who has authority over culture? Who has authority to
Hmm.
consider something culture? Like who is the person to start a vibe, and what gives that person such power and authority to start us a vibe that becomes tradition, that becomes culture? And then you're asking, then who are the gatekeepers of culture? So where are police officers to really look around and decide this is not going to be culture at all, at all, at all. It could be our individual selves. We are police and authority over ourselves to decide no, 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 this will not become a part of our culture. So we individually have a
Right.
decision to make as to what we internalize and what
Right.
we don't internalize. Again, to go back to the original question whether Buyo and Kadas can still be considered our culture, I would say absolutely. We're talking about the genre, we're talking about the instrumentation, we're talking about the instruments
Hmm.
used, which we
Yeah.
definitely brought over here with us. These instruments are also used in soca, reggae music, parang music. It's the horns, the drums, the conch shell, it's the rhythm guitar. These instruments were definitely
Right.
used. These ingredients, let's use it like food, these ingredients were definitely used to make this sort of meal that we eat today. It's considered bouillon music, it's considered karas
Hmm.
music, so it definitely is. What I be hearing our issue is the lyrical content now. Because remember, copyright music, we separate the production of the music from the lyrical content. Yeah? So our issue is more
Hmm.
of the lyrical content. But Buyo is Buyo and that's ours. Karas is ours. The
Right.
instruments we use to make them meals
Right.
there, that is our interpretation of how we make our own soup with the horns and the whatever the drum set. So let's talk is the lyrical content that's the issue now. That's
Yeah, but
where
that's
the
what we're
So,
talking
so
about.
guys, so guys,
That's
let
what
me
we're
eh,
talking
just
about.
let me just let
Yeah.
me just jump in real quick because I have to bow out in a little while, and I couldn't agree more with what Abia said. As a matter of
Right.
fact, Booyah, if you think about it, is the definition of culture because we took a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
But that,
Yeah.
We took some African,
Everything.
we took some
Yeah.
Kalinago, we
Yeah.
took some European, and we created
Yeah.
Creole. So
Yeah.
if we really think about it, bouillon is the definition of culture, the
the
Creole
Right.
culture
the epitome
Right.
of our
that
culture.
that we celebrate. So just to kind
Right.
of add real quickly, I just think we have a very unique opportunity given the technology that is now available at our hands to embrace opportunities
Hmm.
for collaboration, to embrace opportunities to really put forward what we want to represent as Dominicans. So I think with all
Right.
the streaming platforms like YouTube and all the other available platforms, we really have to make sure the music that is being put out there represents who we are and the
Yeah.
importance of collaboration. For example, I've had the honor of having a beer on maybe two of my programs in the past, and one of the things she does very brilliantly is she takes advantage of technology by having other people, and Abia, correct me if I'm wrong, but you collaborate with people internationally to create your music. So that is kind of what I want to see more
yeah.
happening in Dominica. I think sometimes we find ourselves very
Right.
confined with the physical border of
Hmm.
Dominica. And what we don't realize is Dominica and all the Caribbean islands, the whole world now has no borders. So we have to stop
Right.
limiting ourselves to the availability in Dominica. And I'm sure Bia could teach a whole course on how do you collaborate
Right.
internationally. How do you make use of social media? How do you make use of email lists? Because anytime
Mhm.
a beer drops something, I'm telling you, bam, it's in my email. You see what I'm saying? So we
Yep.
have to look at
The
the
same here.
people, those who have mastered the art of using the technology that is so readily available. I mean, those streaming platforms, Facebook and all that, they're free. Email lists are free. So that is
Hmm.
really what I want to see for Dominica, where people like Abe, and I don't know about Amma and Mr. Guada, because unfortunately I don't follow you guys. I will now, but I know for a fact because
Good.
I've interacted with Abe, so I know she has it down packed in terms of what
Right.
can we use this technology, how can we use her as an example to show others the importance of what needs to be done. So I think this is a very good conversation. It's the beginning of something very important. And I hope to see that we continue with this conversation.
Yeah, man. Give time.
And let me
Yeah.
just shout out a few people on the live because it's important to acknowledge those who take time out to join us. Royal Music Production had sent a message earlier on. what is that? Bedun Douglas had sent a message earlier on, and Dominic, Simone James, Maria
Yeah.
Francis,
Okay.
Roy Labad, Pauline Hector. So, so important to say thank you to them for taking time off to join us on this program.
Thank you. So I just want to say thank you, Simone, for adding that great insight. But I also want to ask the panel, what is your opinion? Because we're adding on now to what Simone had already said. What's your opinion on what's missing in today's music?
Morals.
Morals.
Morals and respect.
Morals and respect.
So I'll say our culture then. Our
Creativity.
culture is missing in the music.
Our culture. Okay.
Wow.
Mr. Guada,
Hmm.
you have any input on
When you
what's
say our,
missing?
yeah, Mr. Guada.
You never change, Emma. You never change, You see, you're a
What
star.
the change, man? We don't change.
Pick
We
up yourself.
get wiser.
I'm trying to
Nothing
be
that change. I'm still the
equitable here.
same. All right. Me and my crew, we're still rolling. Stay in your circle. All right. Joel, I'll tell you what missing in our music. All right. And you better put it down in your diary.
I have a notebook here already.
Because that is what missing in our music. Real. See, real is what missing in our music. REAL. So, music in itself, or not just music, but art in itself, was supposed to be our way of communicating our ideas. Our ideas, my ideas, my ideas, your ideas with the world, things we are going through, our struggles, our happiness, our life. That's what it was in the beginning until it became a fictitious and a fake and a hype thing. So I think we just need to go back to the realness. All right, the realness. So you would look at bands like, let's say, the original WCK band, and if you the biggest hits of WCK, all right, anyone, you can pull up anyone, and well, Ras sang most of the hits, 99.9% of the hits, and you realize most in all of the hit songs, you would realize he always keep on recalling, oh, remember when we used to do this and we used to do that and we used to dress like this and jimping and that and real things. He speak about real things where people can relate. All right. So now, right now, it's about Tishan. All right. So now you have people talking about bad man, and they don't know nothing about bad man. I myself never see them in no ghetto. I never see them busting no gun. And
Well, you say we have to go
hold on.
back,
I
right?
hear people talking about. I hear people singing about. They are holding for money and rich, and they do not know about really making money. So it's like, and these things you can, and when you watch the people that they are singing to or they are targeting now, can't relate to that because they never look at you as that person. They don't know you as that person, and that is what. But just because maybe you're looking at BT or you're looking at whatever and you realize that what they're singing about, you gotta sing about it. So I think that is where the disconnect. That is where the disconnect in the music is. It's like the lack of realness
or authenticity. Yeah, I was thinking this. I was thinking this. I was thinking the same thing as well. But let me just chime in before let me just chime in before I head out. I think what is also
because we gotta go. So
is the spirit.
Yeah,
of
1 hour. You can't let me
Watch me, novelist. Hold on, one second. Novelist. You see, my man. One thing you know
Can
me,
we
I
can
strict.
we just respect the panel? And Simone was speaking and she got cut
Sorry,
off.
Yeah,
sorry,
let's just
Let's
continue, Ben. The time is
sorry about that.
limited. It's
My
not our
apologies.
fault. There's a show
My
coming on right
apologies.
I know
after
you're
this,
passionate.
so let's
We
just
just
respect the
get
vibes and keep
yeah.
it going.
My apologies.
Thank you,
It's
guys.
no
And I
fault
can,
of
I can,
ours.
I can see
Go
the, I
ahead.
can see the passion. I can see the passion, and I think that is really good. I think we,
Yes.
we definitely, we definitely are not missing the passion in the music, right? But I think I've been doing my programs now for about 2.5 years, and what keeps coming back to me in terms of what is missing, what I keep hearing from the artists and people involved in the industry in Dominica is a spirit of collaboration. There are too many egos. Too many people think, I don't need you to tell me what to do, and I don't need your input. And that is failing us. We are so much stronger when we come together and we collaborate.
Right,
And I
right.
get the sense that there's a spirit, everybody seems to have an ego when it comes to the music. And I think the spirit of collaboration is what is probably missing the most in the music. But while I have the mic, I know the passion is about to jump back out, right, Mr. Guada? let me just let me just
No, no, no,
let me
no,
just thank
no.
Novelist and Joe for the invitation to be on this program. This was great. I hope it's a conversation that will continue on. Let's thank
Thank you
our
for being with us.
audience for being with us. And, it
We
was great having this
we
opportunity to share with
definitely need to do
Fabia,
that.
Mr.
Yes.
Guada, and Emma. So, guys, continue the conversation. And I will chime
Thank
in,
you.
or maybe jump on the Facebook Live, but I got to head out.
All
Thank
Doc, it
you.
right.
was
Be
nice
safe.
having you. It
All
was
right,
nice having
thanks.
you. It
Have a
was
good
nice
night.
having you.
You
Take
Yeah.
care.
too.
All right. Thank you for
Novelist,
thank you for joining
we
us,
do need to
Doc.
continue the conversation.
All
I
right.
just wanted to just make a point
So,
because I'm not of Dominican heritage. And I
yes.
do believe, in my opinion, I believe that bouillon is a Dominican culture, just as in Trinidad, where my parents come from, and
Hmm.
Grenada, soca is and belongs to Trinidad. It was invented by Trinidadian. So
You hear that?
we have to adopt soca, we have to adopt kaiso and calypso. They're all part of our cultures, right? um I also wanted to
Right.
make a point that we I was hoping that this conversation would not just be minimized. Maybe that's not the right word.
I know.
Not only just focusing on Dominica, but on a whole. And like what Simone, I think she was
Right.
trying to bring it somewhere else, where we not just narrow-mindedly constantly think about just Dominica. We need to think about what else is happening in the world. There's
Open
other
up
people that we
exactly.
can collaborate with, right? And open our minds to
Right.
making ourselves
Yeah.
be more visible on other platforms, not just a Dominican platform. That's how we elevate ourselves, right?
Okay.
So, anyway, enough said.
Right.
Novelists, the floor is yours. I'm looking at the time. This is a
Guys,
conversation that can be
no,
pinched
I
into
know.
1 hour.
We really intended for this to go longer, but last minute we
Yes.
were told that we only have an hour and there's a program coming on at 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna do this on the air right now with the three of you guys because I know this is a hot topic and the season ends next week. So next season, I'm asking you, Mr. Guada, I'm asking you, Amaziah Moses, and my beautiful sister, Abia. Will you guys join us and do this again
Yeah, only if it's more than an hour.
for the next season?
Yes.
Okay. Novel. Who's the program
Definitely.
director? We
Once
said.
I'm available.
Definitely.
Novel. Who's the
We'll
person
talk about it
politician?
in the back. We gotta go.
Bro, Novel, you can't
We'll
bring in
talk to
Mr.
him in the
Guada on them
back.
kind of 1 hour program, bro. You know that, bro.
Next time there'll be more time. He
All
said
right.
next time
Like
Emma.
I just
producer
explained,
said
Mr.
next time there'll
Guada.
be more time.
Anyway,
All right. Emma. So I hope
yeah.
next on our
So
next
we gotta
episode
go, guys.
I get
Thank
to address your bouillon thing.
I don't know bouillon thing. What bouillon thing I say, man?
yes,
Lyrics I
sir.
talking about, man. I talk about no bouillon thing. I say lyrics.
Lyrics,
All
lyrical
right.
content. I hope I get to address the lyrical content issue.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because it's very important.
Okay, guys. We gotta go. Thank you, Abi,
All right.
for joining us. and I hope
Thank you for having me.
all the
I'll
best
be here.
to
We have to
you
do something
and
together.
everything, and we'll talk.
But
Abia,
Talk to you
we have to do something together.
Abia,
You know?
Abia, nice having you.
That's
Yes,
a
That's what we're talking
collaboration.
about.
Look,
Well,
We have to do some
nice having
music.
you all
We're doing it just
too.
for the reggae. But
no
all
good.
right.
Right,
Big up
right.
now. All right, big up on
Mr.
yourself.
Guada,
Big up
thank
on
you for
people.
joining us. Ima, thank you
Yeah,
for
man.
joining.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Emma.
Yeah,
All
man, you
right,
don't know
all
anything
right.
going
We'll see
on.
you guys next
We have to do music, Virgin.
What them I go do?
See you guys next week.
Yeah, man, what them I go do?
I don't know that song. I don't know that song. I don't know that. Never heard that before.
See you guys next week. Thank you
Yeah,
very
man.
much for being on the
Yeah, man, the
panel.
biggest
Thank
song
you
we do
for
that,
sharing.
man.
All right.